Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Beyond the Mat with me, J. Cole Yoga. Today we're talking about LSD, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. This is my third time taking acid. And this is the time when it happened, man, when I fucking broke through, when some shit went down, things got wacky and weird, and life just started to make sense. So here we go. So after the first time, rolling around on the floor with my girlfriend down in the basement in the smoking room trying to have sex and couldn't get my wiener to work or concentrate on anything physical in 3D manifested reality-wise. After the second time, taking LSD at work at a call center and not being able to read the screen because everything turned into weird alien language and I had to run the fuck out of there and ran out and left my keys behind and had to run back into work and secretly slide in to grab all my book bag and shut my computer off and everything like that. And now to the third time. So here we are. Fast forward, I've now been in a band. We've now been touring around the Maritimes. I've decided to go to college. I'm in my second year, I believe, of college. And in college, we lived a good 45-minute drive away from the nearest city. So in order to have anything to do, let me just explain what college was. It was in a place called Woodstock, New Brunswick. So Woodstock is a little butt-fuck nowhere town full of hillbillies and rednecks who just wanted to kick our ass and fight us all the time because that's how they passed their time by. And I remember a couple of drunk rednecks one time came out and were like, "Come on, boys, let's go outside and throw a few rounds of punches." I'm like, "What do you mean?" "Yeah, it's just something to do, throw a few rounds of punches." I'm like, "Rounds of punches? I don't want to punch anybody, and I don't want to be punched. Get the fuck out of here. That's not how we party, man. We don't throw a few rounds of punches as something to do. Fighting is a last resort kind of thing, you know, when you're in trouble and dudes are going to kick your ass. Get the fuck out of there." So, yeah, so here we are in college, and on the weekends we would drive to Fredericton, New Brunswick, 45 minutes away, and we would party there with our fucking city friends and do city stuff and play rap shows and party and go to raves. And so I had been awake already since, let's say, Friday night, stayed up all night Friday night, played a show or went to a rave or something all night Saturday night, stayed up all night, and it's now Sunday morning and we're sitting around in a room full of sketchy people who have all been awake together this whole time. And a guy has sheets of acid like this, big fucking full 100 lot, no 1,000 lot sheets, right? And he's going, "Okay, who wants some acid?" And everybody's eyes perked up, and I was like, still to this point, in the back of my mind, I'm still convincing myself that all those little things that I had taken before were fucking web pages full of THC crystals on them. I still believed that naively, still hanging on to that little thread of, no, my cousin wouldn't fuck me over like that. He just wouldn't. And sure enough, and then my friend comes around with these things and he starts cutting everybody off a little square and lands it in my hand. He's like, "Is that enough?" And I was like, "I better take another one." Cuts me off another one. "Is that enough?" I was like, "I better take a third one just in case." He's like, "All right." Cuts me off a third one, puts it in my hand, goes to the next guy, starts cutting everybody else off. So I'm just like, eat all 3 hits. I'm fucking beat. I'm so exhausted. I was like, all right, I'm going to bed, guys. That's it. And they're like, "Going to bed? You're not going to sleep for long, dude." So I went and crashed out in a bed in the other room. Hit the blanket, hit the bed, hit the pillow. Out cold, just 45 minutes to an hour later, full-blown acid trip. I wake up, I'm like, oh my god, this is the fucking web pages all over again. This is the exact same shit, only a little more clearer, a little more pure. I'm older now, I've experienced a lot more, I've traveled around, I've made a lot more friends, I've maintained my personalityness, my charisma, I've become a little better at communicating. So I'm a new person. I've changed. I've grown. Things are different in life. So the ability to handle the things that I was seeing was now different. I had read a little bit more about this stuff. I had read trip reports now at this point. I had done a little bit more research into things. Things weren't so scary anymore. And so I'm just high as fuck right now. I get up and is gone from the room. There's 2 people left in the room. Just 2 of my buddies are left there, and one buddy's like, he's like, I'm gonna go in the other room and just be weird by myself. So he goes off in the room and just leaves me and this other buddy alone. And so we're sitting there watching anime videos. And when I say videos, I'm talking about VHS tapes, if you remember those. My buddy had like 6 hours of Simpson episodes edited, that he edited himself, where he cut out all the commercials and he cut out all the intros. It's just 6 hours of just Simpsons. It's just Simpsons nonstop. And we just sat there like, and vegged out on Simpsons for a good 6 hours. And then when that was over, we kind of moved into some other weird, wacky shit to watch. And he broke out this movie called Demons 2, Demons Part 2. And now, if anyone knows anything about a VHS tape, you'll know that the cassette, you could look inside of it, and it had the little window inside, and you could see how much of that black tape was in there, the black tape that the movie was encoded on. And so that's in there. And the movie that we watched, this Demons 2, is literally like a half hour to a 45-minute movie. And then the rest of the whole tape is full of just black, empty, that white snowy page that you get when you turn to a channel that doesn't have any station coming through it. So for a good like 5 hours of snow tape at the end of like a 30 to 45-minute movie at the first, which is weird because that film is expensive. And you gotta wonder, like, why? Why would anyone sell that much blank nothing tape when the movie is only like this long? It's like the band only went by like 50, 60 times, and then you still get this much the blank tape in there. That was the weirdest thing. So the buddy that I'm with, he puts the movie on, we watch it. It's a weird like 80s movie with like really bad acting and a lot of patterns, a lot of weird cinematography going on, a lot of interesting stuff. Also, I'm on a head full of acid, so that really enhanced things and made things look a little weirder and wackier than they were. And we watched this movie, and then he looked at me and goes, "Did it work?" No, it didn't work. Rewinds it, watch it again. Looks at me, "Did it work?" And I'm like, "Did what work?" He's like, "No, never mind." Rewinds it, we watch it again. He must have rewound that movie 10 fucking times. We watched it over, and I was getting sick of it. And then finally, it happened. And the thing worked, that he was trying to see if the thing would work or not. And what happened was, after watching all this weird, gruesome demons movie with like demons who are eating your flesh and attacking people, very like a zombie movie basically, and they're all trapped in this apartment building and everybody's trying to make it from the building, get up onto the roof to get in a helicopter and get the fuck out of there. That's kind of the point of the whole movie. And what happened, and I guess it's a news station, so it's a video station, and there's all kinds of weird, like a cooking show going on, and the demons infect the cooking show, and they infect this show, and that show, and this show. So it's interesting in that kind of a way. And after watching it 10 times, over and over and over again, when that white snowy stuff came on, my brain started to superimpose its own demon movie onto the snow. And the snow, like the movie's over and I'm watching it, oh, there's the snow, and then the snow started to fade and fade back into a movie again. And it's the start of the movie where there's like a chef, and he's like part of the chef cooking show, and he's cutting up something. And in the movie, he's just like cutting carrots or something, but my mind is superimposing this, redoing the movie again, but in my own like acid way. And he starts cutting like his finger, and there's blood going everywhere. Like my mind is making this up, literally making up the whole thing and projecting it onto the screen, and I'm seeing it like it's actually there. And now my buddy's like, look, and he's like, did it work? And I'm like, wow. And so it moved from scenes of the movie that my mind was remembering and reimagining again in a loose kind of way. And then even that broke down into this weird, it was just all faces and teeth and sharp, jagged teeth and biting, and the gnawing of flesh and stretching and blood shooting out and killing and death and bones shooting out and breaking and more faces coming out. And it was almost like looking at, on this screen, like a gateway looking directly into hell. That's best explanation I can have for this was looking right into hell, or looking into the hell of your own psyche, of your own mind. And I'm not scared of anything from within myself, so it didn't really bother me. I mean, I loved horror movies and scary shit. It didn't creep me out at all. Even when I started to realize that, like, hey, fuck, I think I'm making this up. Because at one point, my buddy was sitting over on the floor. Another friend had walked in, and they were talking over in the corner. And I looked over at them, and I was like, hey guys, like, what are you doing? Are you going to come watch this movie? And the other guy was like, what movie? You're watching the snow. And I looked back at the TV, and sure enough, there was the fucking snow. And I was like, what? I'm like, no, I'm watching this gross movie that you guys put on about the chewing and the blood and the bones. And they're like, no, you're watching snow, dude. And then he's like, oh, you're ruining it. The guy who'd made me watch it 10 times, he's like, oh, fuck, you're ruining it for him. And I looked back at the screen again, and vibrated in through the snow. More demons started to come out through the screen. And then at that point, I was onto it. I was like, oh, I see what's going on. My mind was making up all that shit. I see. And then it was ruined, and then it stopped working. I guess if I would have watched it another 10 times in a row, it might have worked again, but I didn't want to do that. And another thing, then we started watching anime movies, and at one point, this is kind of like the greatest revelation and epiphany of my life, culminated up to this point, was, and my battery's going to die, so I'm just going to pause this, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Battery is charged up a little bit, enough to get through this video. Anyways, that's the third thing that's gone weird and wacky today in these video recording sessions. I like to record like 3 or 4 videos all in one shot. That's what I like to do. And yeah, stuff's just getting weird, and stuff's happening, man. Stuff's happening. So let's get back into the story here. So where was I? Watching some anime movies now on the TV. We watched a lot of movies this trip. There was a lot of just sitting and a lot of thinking, and epiphanies started happening. And I started getting these like revelations about life and the universe and everything. And things just started to make sense, and it was just kind of like, oh, now I get that concept of that one thing about life. Oh, no, oh, now I get that too. And oh, and that thing, that's what that's all about. And things were just starting to sink finally, and really like make a fuck ton of sense. And then this is the trippiest thing that's ever happened so far in my exploration of any kind of like psychedelics. And that was a robotic demon horse face. Like a metallic, okay, picture a horse's face, but every angle is like, that's made out of a triangle that goes up, and it's metal, and kind of like mirror, like a mirror, reflective, metallic mirror kind of stuff. And then these would be like, you know, like triangles here, and like triangles that would make this part, and everything was like a weird geometric aspect, and this, which made up a horse's head, and this horse's head came out of the television, right out, and it was looking at me from across the living room. And although it was a horse's face, a horse, it had these like little horns, almost like 2 little horns coming out, and it started speaking to me telepathically. So again, if you've ever had a telepathic experience, it's not mouth words the same that we are communicating right now with words in English language. It's knowing. It's you transmit a knowing, an essence. Information is being sent through, but it doesn't have to come in this very slow, analog, limiting way of words that we communicate through. It would be like if I could just, you know, it's like if you know how to play piano, if you could just take all of that and just send it to me, and now I know how to play piano. That's kind of like how the telepathic connections work, for me at least. And that's how it works through with this demon metallic horse face that came out of the television and started talking to me and telling me how life is actually like that movie The Matrix, in the sense that you're all trapped in these things that aren't you. So like, this isn't you, this isn't what you are. You're not this J thing, you're not this ego, you're not this identity, you're not this physical meat body, you're not any of this. And it was telling me this, and it was like, you're something else. It's just like the movie The Matrix. However, in the movie The Matrix, when Neo fucking, they pull that shit out of the back of his head, and he wakes up in a pot of goo, you know, he still is Neo. He still looks like himself, and he still is a fleshy human thing that was trapped inside that pod the whole time. That's kind of not what's going on here. When they're saying you're not this thing, like, I'm not going to pull a cord out of my head and be another J creature like this, crawling out of goo or anything. It's the idea that you are not this thing, that you are more than this like J essence that's in you. Like, you're almost a telepathic linked with this avatar creature that I'm kind of like trapped in. That's more along the lines of what's actually being transmitted to me through this fucking demon horse face coming out of the television while I'm high on 3 hits of acid. And by saying things like that, in that joking kind of way, like I just said that, being high on 3 hits of acid, you know, like, oh, ha, 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 ha. You know, it's kind of like, it kind of washes it all away. It's like, oh, they were just high. That's totally discredit everything they said, because they were just high on drugs. Hey everyone, just sitting here editing this these 3 LSD videos right now, and it just came to my attention that I left out something like really important on the 3rd video to do with the horse head coming out of the screen, telepathically speaking to me, telling me that life is a lot like the Matrix and how we're all like trapped in these things. The one most important thing that I left out was that this entity or whatever, it said that I was tasked with the job of helping to free other people from that Matrix system, and that I should use music and my ability to have people in front of me from a stage, because I was in a band, so I was always up on stage doing rap shows and everything, and that I should put it into my music, into my lyrics about this kind of stuff, and really use that to my advantage, to having a platform like that. So that, I feel like that was a key point that I left out, that I just wanted to let you guys know about. So back to editing. Gonna have a hunch over, clicky clicky click, click click click. Oh. And if you look at it more like a plant medicine teaching us something about the universe and life, that changes things. That changes everything. That also kind of like reminds you why this stuff is illegal, and why governments who are controlling structures, entities, very controlling, would not want something like that to get out. You know, if we all realized, oh, I'm not even this fucking meat thing, I could just go jump off a cliff and I'm going to be fine. I'm going to just keep going after this experience is over. If everybody knew that, we would be fucking killing each other, and there'd be a lot more death, and then those governing bodies wouldn't be able to have the power that they hold over us and our precious lives, because these lives are so precious and fragile and short and temporary. So like, we need to like really make the most of it, but be good and fall in line and listen to what you're told to. That's it. Like, after that, it's just more weirdness and wackiness. Watched some more Simpsons, laughed with my friends, joked, rolled around on the floor, ate some pizza, went home and slept for a couple days after that. Luckily, college was easy, and I got sent home quite a bit during college. I remember a few times the teacher was like, look, dude, you're so far ahead, I don't want to see you for 5 days. For 5 days, I don't want to see your face. Not even coming in here to check your email. You check your email at home, because you're so far ahead. You just gotta stay away from school for a bit. And that happened a few times. So yeah, we definitely had opportunity to recover from these excursions into the mind, into other places, into other realities, other ways of thinking, other ways of being. What do you guys think about this stuff? Do you believe that maybe you are something else than this fleshy sack of a creature on Earth, more than you? Is there something behind the scenes, pulling the ropes, pulling the strings? When all this fades away, are you still going to be here on this Earth? Are you going to still be a part of this dimension? Are you going to be able to travel around and go anywhere, see anything, kind of do anything? Or are you going to just have a complete diffusion of everything that you are into the totality of existence everywhere, which is kind of where I think things are headed myself. Thoughts, comments. If you like my videos, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you don't know where that is, click on one of these links right here. Patreon. If you want to donate to the cause here, and I don't mean Bill Cosby, I mean Jay, because me matters, and I want to keep doing these videos, and I need help. I need some mother fluffing money, some income happening, and we can make better videos, and then I can hire one of these companies who will market my videos and will reach more people and be able to share all of this awesomeness that is J. Cole Yoga Beyond the Mat. Ding!